ZAC wants to show up and show out for Karen, and Fatima is ready to end this engagement while Andi just tries to maintain in the middle. What's good, y'all? She Sister Erica Vane coming to you right here on Erica Vane TV with another Sistas video. And in this video, I am going to be breaking down season 6, episode number 6. If you're new here, go ahead, hit that subscribe button and turn on your bell notifications so you don't miss out on any of my sisters' content and conversations. And if you're not new here, welcome back, boo. You know how we do. And without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get into this boring ass episode. But there's a couple little beats that we definitely gotta talk about. If you missed it, or if you're just not tapped in, I go live every Wednesday night after the new Sistas episodes with Ali, Nick, and another amazing YouTuber to talk about what went down in the most recent episode, but then also the overall Sistas universe in a podcast, a live after show, if you will, that we host titled Our Sistas Keeper. Be sure to check it out and go ahead and jump in the waiting line. I post about it, and then you can be notified specifically when we go live to talk about it at the end of each episode. So you can do that on my channel as well. Now, without further ado, yo, we started this episode off with Danni and Preston, and Danni is like, I made a mistake, and she slept with Preston, and they did a bunch of stuff. Honestly, y'all, there's so many parts of this episode that I either tuned out on or literally fell asleep on. And I was awake at the start of this episode, but I remember very little. While we were talking about this on Our Sistas Keeper last night, there were so many moments where I just did not even remember, and I feel like I tuned it out because I'm over Danni's Preston is not some random guy. Yes, you just met him a few weeks ago, but he has been the solid mainstay in reference to your romantic partners. So it was not wild to me. It did not seem like a mistake to me that her and Preston actually slept together. You were emotional, thought your friend died. You had been drinking and smoking or whatever. He has decided to stay there, show up for you because of, you being attacked and him having to come to your rescue. He has deep feelings for him. You have deep feelings for him. One thing leads to another and it goes down. Like, why are we even wasting time on this? Like, they have so many conversations about that they don't even need to talk about. It's beyond me. Like, talk about y'all's future, talk about Danni's vulnerability, talk about Danni not feeling fulfilled in her life, talk about Danni wanting a new job, talk about anything other than this fake mistake that you feel like you made when you love to have sex. Danni, you have sex with so many men, and Preston has probably been the most stable man that you have had sex with. Girl, I do not believe it. I do not believe that you didn't want it. I do not believe that you feel like it's a mistake, and at this point you wasting Preston's time and mine, and I'm over it. Moving on. Sabrina, girl, at this point, you're just here to give a look. You're just here to be stunning, okay? You're just here to eat down when it comes to fashion, when it comes to makeup, when it comes to hair, because the storyline is still not given. I don't give a damn that she got to go to this lawyer. I even give less of a damn that she wants to drag Maurice there, because if Maurice don't want his job back, if Maurice don't want to put his foot to the pavement and do what he has to do to go get his job back and prove his innocence after he dragged you into this circumstance, then that's on him. He would just be jobless, baby, and feel bad, feel pity on yourself. I don't know, because enough is enough. Sabrina is having to jump through way too many hoops in this friendship with Maurice to make sure that they're both okay. And at this point, girl, it's a give and save yourself. Period. And Calvin, you ain't do nothing crazy, but also, when you gonna stop being a damn sidekick? Because I need a little bit more from you, or I don't want to see you. Moving on. Little Miss Andi, I gave her props on Our Sistas Keeper. I gave her props for the conversation that she had with Karen at the top of the episode in the penthouse, because I feel like out of the very few times that she has talked to Karen, which it's probably only been one other time out of all the conversations that they have had over 6 seasons, one other time besides this time that I felt like she was actually thinking about what's in the best interest of her friend Karen, that she was not acting as a double agent for her friend Fatima, and that she was doing a good job of balancing both relationships in this conversation. She tried to give her point of view, pointed out that ZAC is in love with Fatima, which is 100% okay to point out. And then when Karen was not listening, when Karen was still going down the rabbit hole, when Karen was still doing what she was doing, she decided to say, okay. And she decided to be her friend and just listen. She's not going to contribute. She's not going to push either way. But girl, if this is what you feel and what you think, go ahead and get it off. I'm not going to agree with you, but go ahead and get it off. And I respected her for that. I would have respected her if she kept that same damn energy. And when Fatima came in, ripping off rings and being all sorrowful and trying to avoid ZAC and having her speak to ZAC for her while she's standing right there, that was the most awkward exchange I have ever seen. But I'm going to come back to it. When they go into Andi's office and they're talking, I'm like, Andi, why don't you have that same energy to tell Fatima that ZAC loves Karen? You just told Karen that ZAC loves Fatima. Both things are true. Oh, because we want to keep up the facade for Fatima. Because we want to be the friend that tells Fatima everything that she so-called wants to hear. Because we want to be overly positive, even though this situation is getting more and more messy by the minute. This is what I'm talking about when I say that Andi needs to get out of it completely, because she cannot be a friend of both people, because she don't know how to be neutral. Being neutral or being a good friend of both will be being honest with both, not being invested in the outcome for both. It's very clear that Andi wants to continue to see Fatima and ZAC make it, which is cool. I'm not saying she has to root against her friend, but she also knows that Karen has deep love for ZAC. She knows that Karen and ZAC have a lot of history, and she also knows exactly how ZAC feels about her and all that he has gone through in reference to trying to show up and be the man that he wanted to be, or that he felt like he could be for Karen. So we're not going to act like he has no feelings for Karen. We're not going to act like there's no seed, no spark, no nothing there. Like, let's call a thing, and let's be 100% honest about it. And if you cannot do that, Andi, then you're falling short on one side or both sides of your friendship. This might not have been the best time, but I feel like it was kind of the best time to say, you know what, Fatima, he does love Karen. And he thought that she died, girl. Like, give him some space. Give him some time to process what those feelings look like. Y'all are engaged after having meeting each other after 6 weeks. Like, a lot of this is moving fast. We have talked about this moving fast. It's okay if y'all take a beat. And no, that doesn't mean that he's leaving you for her. And no, that doesn't mean that he wants her over you and he's trying to string you along. But give him some time to figure it out. Now, the context that Andi don't have, and this is why I'm like, I get really particular when it comes to having a conversation with Andi or about Andi and her friendships, because she rides really hard for Fatima. And it's cool because Fatima has shown up for her, but Fatima has not shown her all of Fatima. So she don't have the context that Fatima has an ex who is dying of cancer, who Fatima was going through it emotionally about. Fatima has every reason to understand exactly where ZAC is in this moment. Even though ZAC is a little shaky because he's a little less emotionally intelligent, but Andi doesn't know about Ann. Doesn't know about that circumstance. I feel like that would be great information to be able to provide and kick back to her of like, girl, you went through the same thing. Well, Angela did bring it up last episode, so I can't even say, or the episode before last, I can't even say that I'm mad that Angela didn't bring it up. She just didn't go hard enough with that particular point. And if y'all watch our Sistas Keeper, then you know my biggest issue is not necessarily that Fatima feels a way about how ZAC feels about Karen. It's just that she's decided to make this the end all be all moment for their relationship. When this is the one moment where I do feel like ZAC is valid in his feelings. He's valid in his response and his actions, because he thought that Karen died. There has been so many other times where he has been disrespectful to y'all's relationship, disrespectful to y'all's engagement, and dismissive of your feelings for much more trivial things that just should not happen. And we're not actually okay. I don't feel like ZAC actually did anything wrong. So for this to be the sticking point that is going to potentially break y'all for good is wild to me, because there were so many other things that you could have put your foot down and you could have stood in your self-worth about, and you chose not to. This one, I don't know. I really just hate it for Fatima. And I mentioned this on our Sistas Keeper, the podcast. But I feel like I never expected Fatima to take an L like this. Like, I never expected for her to tank the way that she's tanking. Her character is going down fast, y'all. Fast. Like, what Tyler Perry has her doing in reaction to all that's going on, to me, it's completely destructive to what he alluded to her being. And it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. I honestly feel like she could go either way, but if he decides to take her in the crazy route, I'm like, wow, I would have never seen this coming. Not the well-to-do Fatima who stand on her own and who was making a way and is super mature and emotionally intelligent and can communicate. Like, this is really how she finna go out. It's interesting to me. And I think that in this moment, it's not really clear of if ZAC is actually trying to pursue Karen on some whole sexual or romantic type stuff. I would honestly lean towards saying not, but he is leaning towards feelings of nostalgia and deep love. And basically, like he told Aaron, Karen is family at this point. It's just a little bit deeper. It's a little bit deeper than how we want to just chalk it up to being some type of trivial thing. And I just want Fatima to use the same maturity and emotional intelligence that she used to excuse ZAC from some other things in this moment that he actually needs it. Because you should have stood up when Connie popped up. You should have stood up when he was coming in and out of Deja's house with his heart on. There were so many other moments where you could have really put your foot down and been like, yeah, this is not going to fly. This is the time that he actually needs and deserves grace and understanding. And you can't find it for him. But you found it after he was leaning over that bathtub with Deja naked. You found it when he put you out that out that hospital. And then you walk back in and he hugged up with Connie. Baby, this ain't a good look, Fatima. It ain't a good look at all. Now, going back to Andi. I did not appreciate her conversation with ZAC. I did appreciate ZAC though. And this is wild because now we're like going 3 weeks strong and I'm literally like, I have no notes for ZAC. I don't feel like he did anything wrong. I don't think that he's doing anything wild. Aside from like, oh, you only made up half the bed. I'm like, sir, you was actually in the bed. How the hell am I gonna make up the whole bed if you still in it? But I'm not even paying that no mind. I have no problems with what ZAC did, said, none of the things, aside from him popping up at the damn law firm. But y'all, he's been doing that. Don't have no problem with ZAC popping up at the law firm now when he been doing that, and y'all ain't had no problems. And when I was pointing out, y'all was trying to say I was coming down on him for no reason. He has been popping up at the law firm all willy-nilly, not taking her job seriously. He has not been taking Andi seriously as Fatima's boss. He is always dismissive, like, oh, can we have some time? Can you give us some space? Damn. No, Fatima's at work. She need to do some damn work. So y'all, don't be surprised that this happened in this episode. I did like his conversation with Andi, or at least from his point. I didn't like Andi. I felt like she was overstepping. I felt like she wasn't the person to speak to it. Like, at that point, girl, you're putting yourself in a position to, one, yes, you're advocating for Fatima and what she particularly wants, but you're also putting yourself directly in the crossfires to advocate against your friend. You know that your friend is going to the salon to meet him. You know that this boy wants to help her. So why are you trying to convince him not to do something that they both actually want to have happen, but you want the best interest of your friend? Is that your friend? So Andi, you get an F, honey, for this conversation. You got an A from me for the house conversation with Karen, but you got an F for the conversation with ZAC, and you get a C+ for the conversation with Fatima. Now, going back to ZAC, like, I like how he was able to keep his composure, and he asked the questions like, okay, so what happened? What's going on? How does she feel? Because she's not actually talking to him. And that's the fact of the matter is, like, I would respect Fatima more if she wanted to take her little time to process, and she actually just processed and then go tell that to everybody who would damn listen to try to make sense of it. It's like, girl, you gonna talk to him or you not? And I'm not trying to say she can't vent or whatever, but like, the people that she's going to are not actually sensible people to go to. So it's not actually helping you healthily process this whole thing. So I would much rather you just keep it to yourself and just keep it in your brain until you're ready to talk to ZAC, because this is just making it all damn worse. But I feel like ZAC handled it nicely. Like, he asked questions and he started to get a little bit irritated, but then he's like, no, I'm gonna listen. Okay, cool. And then, you know, Andi is speaking to Fatima, feeling abandoned and dismissed, and it's like, girl, you was not abandoned. Fatima, if the law firm was on fire, let's just say it wasn't, but if the law firm was on fire, and if the salon was on fire, and they was on fire at the same time, and ZAC ran to the salon knowing that you was in the law firm that was on fire, then you could have this issue. Then you could say, he just abandoned me. He didn't care about me. He didn't He thought the girl was dead. You were at your job with your boss, where you're comfortable, where you go every single day, 5 days out the week, coming back from lunch, and I thought my ex was in a fire in her damn salon. When I ran out of your job to go and see about her, I did not abandon you. You're not sitting on the side of the road with no food or water. Like, girl, let's be for real. Okay, let's be all the way for real. And I like that ZAC heard it, but also was like, we thought Karen was dead. We thought Karen was dead. And again, Andi, is that your friend? Because ZAC is like, that's your best friend. We thought she was dead. What are we talking about here? Very valid questions. Y'all, that's all I really got. I don't really have too much. If you want to know my full-on thoughts on the episode, then be sure to check the replay out of our Sistas Keeper. I'll link it in the description box down below so that you can get into that. We go into a lot more depth there, but I really don't have much for y'all for this breakdown. Let me know your thoughts on the episode in the comment section down below, because we can keep the conversation going there like always. And give this video a like, because you made it all the way to the end and I know that you liked it. Look out for my episode 7 preview and trailer breakdown, which is coming very, very soon. See you on the next one.